Hello everybody, I am Fuzzyface. Welcome back to another edition of this Motorsport Manager career. We've got the Italian Grand Prix coming up today in Milan, round 10 of 17. It is the home of the Ferrari team, and as we see, we've got a battle shaping up for the Drivers' Championship between Hamilton and Vettel. Ocon will start to fade away now. It looks like these two are going to be fighting out. The Mercedes had reliability problems in the last race, which allowed Ferrari, although they would have possibly got the 1-2 finish anyway, in the Belgium Grand Prix. Vettel and the new Ferrari driver Charles Leclerc, who made his debut race for the Ferrari in that Ardennes race, getting a second place as he replaced Alex Lynn, who moved to Sauber but had a really good finish in the Sauber as well, in sixth place, making a one-stop strategy really worked for him. But as it is, Ferrari look like they could be favourites to go on and win the Constructors' Series now, as they're only 20 points behind us. As it is, I think it's going to be pretty tricky for us to get up into the podium places from now on, especially with Leclerc in that Ferrari. The Mercedes, hopefully, we're over their reliability. Hopefully, they've got whatever they put into Hamilton's car, which must be the engine, because we've got our upgrades to go in the car this time. We'll just go ahead and fit them. This engine that we had built, which was going to be the best in the game, is not currently the best in the game, and we do have two new suspensions to put in the car as well, which aren't that big of an upgrade at the moment. And it was actually the other way around. Norris usually gets a better suspension. It's not that big of a step forward at the moment, but it can move ahead another 70 points, which we're going to be working on soon. But we've just got to get through these at the moment, which is going to take 13 days. All the parts we're building in the garage at the moment, the new front wings that we're going to be building, are all focused towards next year's car. They're all risky parts, but as you can see, the brakes build that we have actually just completed, the last brakes build we're possibly going to do, is a 1253, which we can even increase to a 1378. At a 1253, it is the best brakes part in the game, and we've got another 120 points to move on it as well this season before we get to next season. So we're going to be really strong in that department as well. Hopefully we can get the front wing up to scratch as well, and maybe the gearbox, maybe focus a little bit more on the suspension, and maybe even do an engine build, because our test track is nearly built, which is going to allow us to unlock the legendary build on the engine as well. So if we can get ahead there, ready for whoever this new team that is coming into the game next season, tight-lipped on that at the moment. It is going to be a pretty strong team though, that's going to be challenging right up there with us, the Red Bulls, the Mercedes and Ferrari. So we're going to try and make things like a five-way fight for the title next season, make things a little bit interesting there. But as it is, so yeah, we've got the car all ready to go for this race. We've got the new suspension in the car. We are still behind the Red Bull though as we introduce these upgrades, and as I said, that engine that went into Lewis Hamilton's car, that must have been what was unreliable. It has put Mercedes overall the best on the grid for top speed, their new engine, but it was unreliable. Whether they've got it reliable enough now is yet to be seen, and Mercedes with that as well moved back to the top as well, being the best car on the grid ahead of the Ferrari. Although as we know, Ferrari with Vettel and Leclerc do have the best driver lineup. Red Bull with Ricciardo and Verlaine at second, and Mercedes with Hamilton and Magnussen are third, and Haas with Roman Grosjean and Carlos Sainz are fourth. McLaren, Bottas and Van Dorn fifth. So yeah, so we're going to jump into this race now. We have this sponsor, UPS, who offer us a little bit of money if we manage to qualify and finish the race 10th or above. It's going to be rainy in practice, quite heavy rain in qualifying as well, which might throw up some interesting changes to the grid, but we won't know until we actually get to that. So we'll go through practice off screen, and we'll be back for the third qualifying in just a second. So here we go with our first flying lap in Q3. Hopefully we're going to have a decent performance here. If you look at the standings at the moment, there is no Charles Leclerc here. The Ferraris got caught out by the rain in Q1 and Q2. Vettel was lucky himself to get through into Q3. He is compromised a little here because he did have to run in Q1 on 2 sets of the soft tyre, so he's possibly only got 1 set of soft tyres for this qualifying session. But as it is, we'll just concentrate on our cars now. Ocon are not that slow around this track at the moment, 1/10 down, just over 4/10 down after the second sector. So where are we going to be here with Norris? Norris goes quicker than Bottas on the first lap. Ocon is going to be coming across the line as well. Where does he find himself? Ocon goes quicker than his teammate, ahead of Bottas as well. They've got quite a few other cars to complete their first lap here. And Verlaine, Hulkenberg goes slower. Vettel goes quicker. He's a lot quicker there, so he should be able to keep this pace up. It doesn't look like we're going to have any rain in Q3 either. Where is Ricciardo going to go after this first lap? 5th. So we look pretty decent around this Milan track. Obviously, the layout of it suits the sort of the rear wing and the engine really heavily, so we should be pretty quick around here. But look at that, we're over half a second back from the Ferrari, but we'll see if we can improve anything and hold on to 3rd and 4th when we do our second flying lap in a second. So here we go with our second flying lap. Vettel actually came out on a fresh pair of soft tyres. I'm guessing he didn't actually run on the soft tyre at all in practice, and therefore he's got an extra set here. He's currently going quickest over the first sector. Obviously Hamilton has only just started his lap. It's between those two cars for pole position. Norris is going a little bit quicker here, but there's no chance of us picking up that half a second gap, I don't think, unless Ocon can pull out an amazing increase as he did a few races ago when he found himself sitting on pole position. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to do that today, so it's all about holding on to 3rd and 4th. On this lap we get the Red Bulls going across. Ricciardo goes quicker than Norris. Can Norris now retake 4th position? And Norris can't. He stays behind the Red Bulls in 7th place. It looks like Ocon's going to hold on to that 3rd place, so he manages to speed up a little bit over Bottas. Hamilton goes quicker than Vettel by almost 0.3 of a second, and it's 0.8 seconds from the pole sitter back to our car in 3rd place. So Mercedes have made an absolutely massive game with whatever they've done with their upgrades to the car. Hopefully their engine's reliable enough here, so we're going to get a decent fight between Hamilton and Vettel. We're not going to see Hamilton come into the pits to fix his car at any point in the race. So here we go with the grid for the 2020 Italian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel on the front row of the grid. Sebastian Vettel starting the race on a used pair of soft tyres. Obviously the tyres were unlocked for everyone into the top 10 because Q2 fastest lap was done on the intermediate tyres, so everyone had a free choice of tyre compound. Lewis Hamilton should be able to get this through to the point where it needs to get through to, because there is a rain coming around about lap 11. We're starting on the medium tyre. I didn't think the AI would start on the used softs. We can't start on, I wasn't going to start on used softs because we don't have any softs left either. We've used all 5 sets over practice and qualifying. But we start 3rd. Valtteri Bottas is in 4th. Pascal Wehrlein used softs for him in the Red Bull. Danny Rick used softs for him, 6th in the Red Bull. Lando Norris and fresh pair of medium tyres in 7th. Max Verstappen, used pair of softs. Nico Hülkenberg, a used pair of softs. Pierre Gasly, and a used pair of softs there. Their race is pretty much wrecked because they're not going to be able to get that tyre through until the rain starts. The AI just confuses me sometimes. This is why I want to get rid of the 3 qualifying sessions. That's why I voted it to be gone next season, because the AI is ridiculous with the tyres sometimes. Marcus Ericsson outside the top 10, used softs. Why? Charles Leclerc though, at least he had a pair of fresh softs to go out on. Sergio Perez used softs in 13th. Felix Rosenqvist on a fresh pair of softs. Johnson, fresh pair of softs. Grosjean, fresh pair of softs. Lynn, a fresh pair of softs in 17th, thankfully. Kevin Magnussen on a fresh pair of softs, thankfully, as well. He went out in Q1 in the Mercedes. He's still got that dodgy neck as well. And on the back row of the grid, we've got some pretty quick cars as well. Stoffel Van Dorn, McLaren, and Carlos Sainz in the Haas. Thankfully, they're on fresh softs as well. So a lot of cars. Everyone else is on the softs here. As you can see, look, there's rain coming around about lap 10. They're going to be hard pressed to even get this fresh pair of softs till the rain's coming. I just don't get the AI sometimes, but we're in a really good position here. If we can get a really good start off the line, although Ocon's pretty slow, obviously we're nowhere near as quick as the Ferraris, but Pascal Wehrlein makes a really good start. We're possibly going to be giving up quite a few places in the early going because our tyres are not as quick as those cars around us, but we're going to be able to claw this back a little bit later on if we can stretch out to the rain and get into the pits for the intermediate tyre around then. Whereas all these cars should be pit in pretty early. They might come out on a dry tyre and have to pit again for the intermediate, or as we see from the air sometimes they might come into the pits and fit an intermediate when the track doesn't suit an intermediate, and that might give us the advantage a little bit later. Pierre Gasly sets the quickest lap of the race over that first lap. So Pierre Gasly really quick here, a really good start from him. He's up into 5th place on this soft tyre, whereas we're just holding on to 4th place. We see the Red Bull starting to pull away from us at the moment, so we're just going to push for a few laps here, and then we're going to sort of turn down. We're going to try recover fuel this race. We're going to try and keep our fuel for later on in the Grand Prix. We know we're not really racing at this point in the race because we're just sort of holding on. At the moment, we know we're not in any sort of real position to try and overtake here, as Norris is under pressure from Daniel Ricciardo. It looks like Danny Rick's going to get the pass on that chicane. Is that engine going to be able to hold up here? What is Ricciardo doing? He's in pushing his fuel at the moment. We do have, what are we on, lap 3. It looks like it could be around about maybe lap 12 where the intermediate is going to take full effect. So obviously a lot of these cars that are out on this used pair of softs, they should be pitting around about, what does it say for a used pair of softs, around lap 7 to lap 9. So they're going to be pitting really early before the rain, and we're going to sort of like get a free pit stop over those teams, as Norris manages to get past Ricciardo as he was slow out of the corner. Ocon meanwhile has been passed by Charles Leclerc, who's made an amazing start to this Grand Prix on this used pair of softs. He's going to be in a really good position, as his teammate Vettel was on the used softs. If Leclerc can get that to the end of the race, is that sort of at the point now where these are? It looks to be. So if he can do maybe 8 laps on this tyre, he's going to be able to get through to the rain. So the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc looking in a stronger position than Sebastian Vettel at the moment. So Leclerc, after finding himself, I think he was about 12th on the grid, he's finding himself in a really good position to finish this race, whereas Norris, he's just sort of holding at the moment. He's got Sergio Perez behind him, the Force Indias, who, as we keep saying, there are rumours swirling about that they will be leaving Formula 1 at the end of the season to be replaced by a new team. What colour scheme will they have? Who will that team be? We're just going to have to wait till next season to find out, but here we go. We're just holding on at the moment. We do have 5 laps, so let's just cool this tyre down briefly, and then we can just sort of go in attack mode until we need to make our pit stop pretty much. It's going to let Leclerc and Verline and co run away from us, but Ocon, he's really sort of fighting better on Verline. We don't really have the pace to keep up with the Ferrari of Leclerc now that he's out in front. So what we're going to do is get these just below optimum, and then we can just go ahead and push. We're going to keep our fuel for that stint when we come off the intermediate tyre, or for when we see some cars pitting. Pascal has come in early here. What's he gone on? He's gone on to another pair of used softs. Why? Well, obviously that is going to get him through to the rain, but it might not even get there. He got 6 laps off that used pair of softs. Why? There are medium tyres to use, but who knows why? Who knows why? Are we going to start to see Vettel start to line up his pit stop? Maybe he's on 36%. No, he's got another couple of laps in him. So we're going to get pushing once again now in attack mode. We're not going to use the fuel at the moment. So hopefully we're going to see our lap times pick up once again. Leclerc's doing a good job of holding onto this soft tyre as well. He's only on 53%. A really good job of holding onto that soft tyre. So Ferrari have got the strategy right with him. Why they didn't do the same with Vettel, although Vettel did use more softs during qualifying because Leclerc had spare softs since he didn't actually get through to Q3, otherwise Leclerc would have been compromised in this race as well. Ocon meanwhile is 1.4 seconds this lap than his last one. He did the last lap on a 1:14.2. What is he going to do this lap? He comes across the line doing a 1:12.4, which is keeping pace with the cars in front of him, which is what we want there. Norris meanwhile has got himself up to 5th place. He's cleared a lot of cars here as Gasly, Bottas, Perez, Ericsson dive into the pits. We're ahead of Grosjean, Magnussen, Sainz. Magnussen has sort of recovered a little bit here. He's up into 7th place, but obviously he's still out of position as well. That's not where he would want to find himself, as it is with the Drivers' Championship. Hamilton holds a 10-point lead at the moment. Williams, we're still leading by 9 points as things stand. Hamilton is favourite for this race since he was on a fresh pair of softs. I'm guessing the Mercedes didn't run at all, and Vettel has come in for the intermediates really early, compromising his race totally. We're going to see Rosenquist as well come out on the Inters as well, I would guess. He comes out on the Inters, so anyone pitting to get off this soft tyre around about this position has really sort of compromised their race. Vettel is going to start to fall back now. He's just possibly far enough in front of us that he's going to be able to get this his place back, but as we can see he's just really falling back now. He's compromised his race as in terms of getting towards Hamilton, but whether he's still going to be on the podium, obviously Leclerc's going to be hard to catch, but he might still be able to catch our cars before the end of the race. We're still pushing all out. We're still in the mid 112s, as is Leclerc is almost in the 113s now. So we're slightly catching up here. We've got a lot of fuel to burn as well later on in this race, so we're just waiting for this rain to come now. which is going to start on the next lap as we start to see a lot of cars in for this intermediate tyres. Vettel is currently running in 8th place. His laps are up in the 1:26. He's 14 seconds slower at the moment. We've got another lap in this tyre though before we even have to think about pitting. A lot of these cars are in a good position, but Vettel is going to be well out of it here. Although he's still going to be in a good position, he's possibly still going to be around about 5th place, but he's on a used Inter at the moment. The rain's not going to get that heavy, so whether we can just sort of muddle through here, we're going to sort of match if Hamilton's going to dive into the pits. If we think he's going to stay out another lap, we're still sort of on the crossover point for the intermediate tyre. We don't have to risk it if we don't want to, and Hamilton dives in the pit, so we're going to follow like that. We're going to get onto the Inters with both of our cars here. We've changed the pit crew around so we can have a nice quick pit stop here, dive into the pits for the Inters, just respond to the cars in front of us, and Ocon will dive into the pits. Norris, hopefully we're not going to double stack. Norris gets out, and Norris gets out in front. No, he doesn't. Right behind Charles Leclerc there. I thought we were going to get in front of him. But we're going to push now all out because the rain is going to go around about lap 16. The rain is not going to be here for very long, and there's a lot of life in this intermediate tyre. Could be 16, 18 maybe. It's going to be about halfway through, isn't it? So maybe about lap 18. There's only six laps to do here, and Vettel has managed to stay in front of Norris there. He's not done too badly, but he lost a hell of a lot of time. But he got up into a 112. No, so he was actually still lapping pretty decently on that Inter tyre. He went down into the 124s because he was out of the pits, but he has lost quite a bit of time. He was pretty close to Lewis. He's lost about 10 seconds or so with the pit stop, it seems like. But his lap time doesn't really say that he's lost that much time. But anyway, as it is, we've got Ocon now. We're just going to keep this tyre pushing all out because we can just go straight through this tyre, hopefully until, well, if it does start to overheat totally, then we're going to have to start to cool it back down. But if we can just keep pushing here, we can keep Vettel behind us. If we can keep going quicker than Vettel, that would be the best thing. He's 3.2 seconds behind. Is he closing this gap? It's staying at 3.2. It looks like he's quite far up the road. It looks like that's staying at 3.2. It doesn't look like we're catching with Norris. I'm guessing Norris won't be falling back. But Norris is about to set his quickest lap of the race on the intermediate. And Hamilton has crashed. We've got a safety car out of the garage. Are we far enough ahead to pit under a safety car? It doesn't look like it, so there's no point diving in. So let's just get everything to low. Hamilton, who was clear out in front, has crashed, and he's a long way off the track here. What has happened to Hamilton? Safety car's out. There's no need to pit at the moment unless the safety car is going to come in. If the safety car is going to be out for 1 lap, 2 laps here. No, the rain's not going to stop for when the safety car comes back in, so we're just going to conserve everything here. We're going to have a lot of fuel to push once the safety car comes in. So if we can get that, it moves Ocon up into second. Obviously Leclerc's out in front, but it closes the distance there, and obviously this sort of rescues Vettel's race as well, because he's going to be able to close the gap up to his teammate as well. And Hamilton crashing, he's moving down the order. Sebastian Vettel will be on top in the driver's standings after this race if things stay the way they are. Right, the safety car's starting to shoot away here, so we're going to go attack and overtake mode right on the restart. We'll get a little bit of heat back into these tyres. Everyone else's tyres should be down, but we should have a little bit of heat if we start pushing here. If we can get the run on Leclerc, it's going to put us in a really good position here. And it's sort of rescued the race for all of these cars that sort of did the 2 stops before the rain came, so Ricciardo could be back in with a chance of a points finish here. Looks like Ocon might have the run on Charles Leclerc here as we go into the first corner. Norris meanwhile has got the run on both Ferraris as well. We go flying off into the distance. A disastrous restart for Charles Leclerc there. He's coming under pressure from Kevin Magnussen now as well as we fly off into the distance. And we should have the pace on Vettel, who is on a used pair of intermediates at the moment. If we can just sort of shoot off into the distance here, we've got a lot of room to keep pushing on the fuel. The engine, all the parts still look like they're in decent nick here, so we can just keep pushing all out. We'll get the tyres up to temperature, obviously. We can just keep pushing on the tyres. Obviously, one of our cars is going to have to come in 1 lap earlier than the other one. Otherwise, we're going to risk double stacking because there's only a second between them. Unless we risk a fast pit stop. We are currently on a 1. No, we haven't even changed the tyres. So if we came back in to finish this race on a medium tyre, I'm not going to risk it on a used pair of soft tyres. If we get back in for a medium tyre, we will be doing a 1.6 second pit stop, which means we need 1.6 seconds between our cars to pit on the same lap. So maybe if we hold Norris back, if we can get him far enough ahead of Vettel, if we sort of hold Norris back up for a little bit, and that would put the gap to the 1.3, was it 1.3? Or was it 1.6? I think it was 1.6. If we can get that gap to 1.6 seconds, then we can pit both our cars on the same lap. When the track changes over, it's possibly only another lap before we have to get off this intermediate tyre. So we're at 1.8 now, so we can get back to pushing with Charles Leclerc. We'll just keep his engine mode turned down for a bit because it looks like he's quicker than Vettel. So we can sort of recover with the fuel, but we're somehow, suddenly, we're put in a really good position to win this race now and maybe have another 1-2 finish this season. Like just before this race, I was saying that if we get rain, we might be able to finish, but I was saying, I think at the end of the last video, or maybe at the beginning of this one, that I don't see us winning another race, but somehow we're there. Ocon is just flying up the road now, so we'll get into high mode at the moment. Ocon about to set the quickest lap of the Grand Prix, pushing all out, so we're going to get him back to medium mode now. We'll just keep pushing on these tyres. Everyone has pitted. We've possibly stayed out maybe a lap too long, but we've got the jump now on everyone. We get to see what everyone's doing. And the track is pretty much still on the crossover, so we're going to be on the... our lap time should be about the same, even though everyone else is coming for the medium tyre a little bit early. Leclerc has gone for a fresh pair of soft tyres, so he's going to be really quick to finish this race. Are we still pulling away here? 26.5. This gap is going to start closing back around just at the beginning of this, so 26 seconds. We should be able to get back out in first and second. Hopefully we're not going to double stack here. Ocon just moves out of the pits as we cross over here, and we've got a lot of tyre wear left in this medium tyre. So where is it? Where is Vettel going to be? He's quite a bit further down the road. We get out of the pits. Norris second, right in front of Sebastian Vettel. We've got room to push here to try and stay ahead of Vettel. So Norris is going to battle, and Vettel gets past him. Unfortunately, Vettel is a lot quicker than our Williams. It didn't work staying out that one extra lap. I thought the crossover was going to sort of work out for us. And as it is, Leclerc is going to be in a strong position as well. He's 7 seconds down. He should be able to catch Kevin Magnussen, we think. But we can keep pushing here because this medium tyre can do 14 laps. We've got a lot of tyre wear left. If we can keep up with Vettel, as it is even now as we're pushing all out, he's going to possibly turn down because I don't think he's got the same fuel as we do to keep pushing like this. But we'll get Ocon going with the fuel as well, just so Vettel doesn't close up with him. And we'll just try and recover a little bit with Norris because we're not going to overtake Vettel whilst he's pushing. We want to sort of wait until he turns back down before we try challenge Vettel once again. With Norris, it's all about keeping Ocon out in front here after his disappointing race last race, where I think he actually finished in 10th place last time, just getting the 1 point. He's going to go from 10th in the last race to first in this race if we can do it. He's setting the quickest first sector. He's about to set the quickest lap of the race, it looks like, if he can keep this up for the second sector here as we move into the final third of the Grand Prix. Quickest second sector as well. This is going to be an outstanding lap, a 110.4 last time around. He does a 109.6, sets the quickest lap of the race. Norris is about a second slower at the moment, so we might as well cool these tyres down and we'll just sort of sit behind Vettel at the moment. And it looks like Ocon's going to go even quicker for this lap, but we'll just do that before we sort of turn him back down. We're sort of building this gap a little bit. This tyre's about overheated. We're about to get the message in a second that these tyres are overheated. We'll just let him set another quickest lap of the race, although it's not going to be by much. He's only a couple of 100ths up. And there we go, we're going to cool these tyres down briefly and we'll get back to recovering a little bit of fuel. And now we can go back into push mode with Norris and hopefully open him up to be and try and close this gap up now to Vettel, who's 3.2 seconds in front. But if we can get both cars on the podium, that would be an amazing result for us here. Vettel, meanwhile, he's gone back into conserve mode with the tyres, still in high mode with the fuel, but I'm guessing he's obviously shouldn't have as much fuel as us because we've been sort of recovering, but he will have fuel to push with. Oh, and there we go, he's gone into low mode. I was just about to say that he possibly might have a little bit to push with because we have been behind the safety car where he should have recovered some fuel. And Vettel again is recovering this distance to the car in front. So what is he doing? He's pushing with the tyres. So we're just going to go back into high and high with Ocon. Hopefully that keeps him ahead. Meanwhile, Norris is on to set the quickest lap of the race. If he can keep going quick here, he's closed the gap by about a second here. If we can just keep pushing like this, is Norris going to go quicker than that quickest lap that Ocon set? And Norris goes quickest with a 109.5. He's 6/10 quicker at the moment. We'll just switch back to high mode with the fuel because we want to just keep in high mode to the end of the race now. Maybe keep a little bit back. Have we got the pace in this tyre to close up to Sebastian Vettel? It looks like Charles Leclerc though can't catch Kevin Magnussen, but 50 is a pretty decent finish. 4th overall currently for Magnussen. He's still got that dodgy neck. His fitness should be going, so Leclerc could possibly get in towards the end of the race. Ricciardo has recovered to a 7th place. Both Red Bulls were outside the top 10 after qualifying. They've recovered pretty well here, as has Van Dorn, who I think started the race in 19th place. He's really recovered here. And Ocon now is building this gap back up 2.6 seconds. And the rear wing is actually a little bit damaged, although it's going to get through to the end of the race. It's at 30% that's going to get through to the end of the race. But we're within half a second now of Vettel. Can we just keep pushing here? We've got a little bit of room to go in overtake mode. I don't want to do it just yet. We're going to go into backup mode, just cool these tyres down ever so slightly. It's possibly going to let Vettel run away, but if we can just sort of keep this half a second gap. If we go now into attack mode and overtake mode, can we close up to Sebastian Vettel in front with 2 laps to go? Looks like he's closing on Ocon, but we've got room to push here with Ocon. Just keep him in front of Vettel. Can we catch with Norris now? He's 8/10 behind Vettel. Looks like he's pushing all out again, but I don't think he can keep that up to the end of the race. As we see, he's already turned his fuel down, but we can't keep the fuel up either with Norris. Oh, and Vettel runs wide. Vettel has run wide. And let's just get this turned down now. We'll try recover here on this final lap. Vettel pushing all out to try catch Ocon, ran wide, giving Norris 2nd place. He's just going to cool these tyres down really quickly. Vettel is going to start closing this gap up, is he? No, he's only in neutral and medium on the fuel. So we've cooled these tyres down. We can respond with neutral and medium too. Norris is going to come across the line in 2nd place. We'll switch to Ocon to come across the line. Ocon wins the Grand Prix. Norris holds on for 2nd place. Vettel is 3rd. Magnussen is 4th. Try and catch these cars. Leclerc is 5th. Pascal is 6th. Ricciardo 7th. Grosjean 8th. There. Van Dorn 9th. A good recovery for him. And Verstappen up into the points for once there as well in the Force India. But an amazing race. Right at the end, Vettel running wide, us putting him in under pressure, him trying to catch Ocon, ran wide. Just an amazing finish to that Grand Prix, and we get a 1-2 finish, which will give us a little bit of breathing room once again with the constructors. Once again, rain works out for us here once again. Just working out the AI, some reason not handling their strategies right in the rain, but there we see a 1-2 finish for our Williams team. The 2nd time this season we've had this 1-2 finish. Leclerc in 5th place. He recovered pretty well, starting in 12th. Danny Rick recovered as well. Stoffel Van Dorn picked up 10 places as well. A good thing for him. No, Danny Rick wasn't outside the points, was he? Red Bulls have actually moved down 1 place. Kevin Magnussen though recovered really well, picked up 14 places to finish 4th. Held his own for this Mercedes team. So Ocon goes back to the top of the pile in the Drivers' Championship, just 4 points ahead of Vettel. Lewis Hamilton drops down the order now. Lando Norris is sort of hanging in there as well. We've got K-Mag, Alex Lynn just behind. Charles Leclerc is climbing the order now that he's in this Ferrari car. We now back to a really decent points haul ahead of the other teams. 38 points ahead of Ferrari, 57 points ahead of Mercedes. It does need some rainy races if we are to keep our lead in the championship. I didn't think it was going to be doable, but it's starting to come to me now that we might just have a chance of doing this. But as we know, if races are dry, we don't usually perform as well as we do in the wet. This Williams car is absolutely awesome in the wet. We came 1st overall, so Frank Williams really happy with us. £713,000 there. We're a little bit down because I'm guessing we've paid a bonus to Esteban Ocon for winning the race, that £120,000 for finishing 1st or above. Not that you can get above 1st. And there we go, Ocon confirmed the winner. Luca Giotto wins in GP3. Who's winning at the moment? Del Fuego in the Trident, the 2 Trident cars. So that obviously means the Trident Junior team way ahead there in GP3. And we'll just move forward now, and we'll just finished with the mail, which is an interview with Nigel Roebuck for Motorsport Online. Your two drivers were fighting away at the front there. Any thoughts about giving team orders? And no, never. I don't usually like using team orders unless the cars are miles apart. Like, I think we used it a couple of races ago where Lando Norris and Ocon were running totally different races, and Ocon hadn't made a pit stop yet. That is the only sort of time I'll use it. Otherwise, I'll just let the drivers just sort of race it out themselves. Next episode, we've got this vote on the last place bonus payments coming up, which should work out for possibly the team coming up from Formula 2, which is looking like it's going to be ART at the moment, although it's pretty close at the moment. And the last race here still does have double points for, yeah, it still does double points for the final race of the season, so that is when everything is going to be decided in Formula 2. 5 weeks away from the HQ being finished. So where was the other race where we finished first and second? Have we had that before? I thought we had. Maybe we hadn't. It was a first and third that we've had a couple of times this season. At China, at South Africa, we've had that as well. So we haven't had a first and second this season. I thought we had done for some reason. Getting ahead of myself. So where was it? We've had a couple of first and thirds, as we did there. I think it was possibly this one where Vettel picked us right on the last lap that I'm thinking of, and a first and third there. So that's actually our best result overall. But anyway, that is it for another episode here with this Motorsport Manager career. We've picked things up a lot with Williams this season. Somehow we're still on top. The rain keeps coming and helping us out. We've got a rainy qualifying session here, but it should be dry for the race in Singapore. And we've got a rainy race in Japan, which might help us out. A slight chance of rain at Phoenix. But other than that, it looks like it's going to be dry for the last few races in the season, which is when we'll possibly see ourselves pipped by Ferrari, Mercedes, both of those. Red Bull, totally out of it at the moment. But anyway, leave a like, leave a comment. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, all the usual stuff. But until next time, I'll see you down the road in Singapore. Until then, goodbye.